I was born in Spain. My father's Spanish, my mother's Greek. I spent, I guess, my life traveling, moving every 3-4 years. Wherever we went, there were no museums, for example. I never really went to a museum as a kid growing up. When I think of why I became an artist, I think part of the reason is I spent a lot of time by myself growing up. And I guess being an artist just, fit that part of my life perfectly. Because initially I was going to be an architect. That was my thought, my feeling. I didn't even know you could be an artist, to be honest with you, till I was an undergrad. I didn't make a living off it, of course. The closest actually I came to artists was in Greece, where my mother's from, the artist in the main square doing the portraits. When I went to Brandeis, and I had 2 art classes, I guess it was. I took a sculpture and a painting class. Painting professor approached me one day and he was like, "Do you want to spend the next 15 years of your life working in an office, drawing out someone else's plans?" And that kind of, struck home because I was having so much fun on the creative side of things. Actually, one of our early assignments was translating a painting of our choice into a 3D image, taking the handout in that way of the process, using the computer as a tool to alter an image, to work on an image became very interesting to me. The imagery I was looking at initially all had to do with technology. I was looking at a lot of like Hubble images and just satellite images of the universe, and then also some scientific images of like atoms or whatever. Well, and art history has always played a big role. I've always used historical images to play off contemporary images. And a piece that's going to be in the Pluto exhibit deals with the Bruegel landscape and then recreating actually a painting of his suicide of Saul. And the painting is titled Making Saul. And it involves recreating this character as a 3D wireframe image. So it's that kind of little game that I like to play a lot. These here, the images behind me, are kind of a continuation of the last exhibit I did, which dealt with comic book and video game violence, which I'm kind of interested in. So these, I've added the element of graffiti, something which I love to look at. I shoot a lot of images that I find interesting, whatever I might be able to use for the paintings. But for the most part, I do my research online. I download the images, then I take those images into Photoshop. I manipulate them, I mix them with other imagery. The medium with actually all these pieces is acrylic on canvas stretched over a panel. I used to actually use other mediums. Actually, another piece that will be at the Pluto space has a laptop within it, inside it. And it also has plexiglass and stereolithography, which is a 3D printout. So it's using a STL file within a 3D program. When I started working with these ideas, the paintings were taking me, 4 months. 5 months, and some of that I guess comes out of the kind of idealism of being in graduate school and thinking that you can just spend as much time as you want making a piece, and there's no financial side to the program. At this point, they vary between 2 weeks to 2 months. 12 paintings or 15 paintings is what I've been producing. This piece, though, is probably going to take me 2 months. So, it becomes the larger the piece, the more ambitious it is, the more anxiety. But it's also important for me to make a large, ambitious piece every so often, so I don't feel like I'm going through the motions with the paintings, which is something I try not to do. I've always really loved Picasso. He's just his use of, basically I guess a painting is, color, line, and form. The way he puts those elements together, I find just absolutely extraordinary, and I I never get tired of looking at. What I ended up doing was making all these drawings a la Picasso, taking these drawings and manipulating them on the computer. So the idea was that the cut and paste of Photoshop could somehow parallel the cubist method of looking at an object, a person, from different perspectives, etc. So it just seemed like the perfect cubist tool. So Bruegel is someone I really like. Goya I've used in my paintings. I've used Velázquez. I download the image of their painting. I take it into Photoshop and combine it, cut it, manipulate it, simplify it with my own imagery or other imagery, contemporary imagery, whatever. There's no living artist that I look at specifically for a work of art, but there are a lot of artists who I look at due to the methodology behind their work, which I find, is one of the more interesting parts of the 20th century, was the rethinking of the art object, how one makes the object, what it means to make the object. What I love about making art, making paintings, is the process, in a way, the whole thing. I mean, the research. I mean, looking for things that I find visually interesting. I like to have that kind of time and quiet, I guess, to think about things on my own. And and the idea, I guess, that you're making something that will stay in this world.